Good afternoon. Welcome. I'm Jessica Hentoff, Jessica the Circus Lady from Circus Harmony, and this is our Up in the Air live stream, graciously hosted by City Museum, which is the home of Circus Harmony. And you guys, City Museum is about to open 7 days a week. They've already expanded their hours, and we're opening Thursday through Sunday, but go to their website at citymuseum.org because before you know it, it'll be 7 days a week that you can come to City Museum. Masks are required. There's plenty of room to spread out, and we are getting closer and closer to doing shows there. But when you are there, if you look in our circus ring on the third floor at City Museum, you will very likely see people rehearsing or taking a class. If you would like to take a class, our regular spring classes are already closed for registration, but we've made juggling a drop-in class. So that means any Wednesday or Saturday at 1 p.m. If you want to drop in and learn to juggle, any age, any level, any props, all you have to do is go to the Circus Harmony page, click classes, and you can register online. We'll send you a link and you can zoom on in. This summer, we'll be having live juggling club and unicycling club again. We plan and hope. And later this week, we will open camp registration for children. A little later, we'll do the adult and teen classes. Today, we have a really, really special guest. I'm very excited that she agreed to come on the program. She's one of our alumni, one of the 4 who are studying up in Canada right now at École Nationale de Cirque. She was also part of our show, The Balancing Act, Walking the Pandemic Tightrope, which gave the pandemic perspective of a number of our students and alumni. We let them talk about and do whatever they wanted. When Isabella Majzun, who's our special guest today, recorded her video for The Balancing Act, she had just gone back to Montreal and was in quarantine. And she's like, where am I going to be able to do my act for the video? So she ended up doing it on the roof. She did not drop any of her juggling props over the edge of the roof. And I'm going to show it to you now. For those of you who've been here before, I am a techno peasant. However, we've been doing this live stream for a long time. And the closer I get to techno mastery, if we ever have one show where there's no technological glitches, then we are near the end of the pandemic. So keep your fingers crossed. So far so good. That's let's go to the Balancing Act. And while you're watching this, text your friends and loved ones to join us for the show today. Isabella in the Balancing Act.
Over the past few months, I've had a lot of time for reflection in general, and I've been thinking a lot about the relativity of happiness and how this should be taken into account when we think about our actions and how they affect the people around us and ultimately how they affect the world. What I mean is that, for example, in a situation when one course of action only slightly negatively impacts a person or a group of people and greatly benefits another, then wouldn't this be the only right action to take? And I can't say what factors necessarily need to be included, but I wonder if it is just that in order to limit suffering as much as possible, we have to make the decision to act in a way that benefits the people most affected in whichever situation, especially when it affects the others little, if at all. For example, wear a mask. But unfortunately, in general, I've found that people do not act this way. They think more of themselves, which leads me to worry that humans are inherently selfish beings, and this is what leads to the great divides in our country and our communities. I mean, at this point, people won't even talk to each other if they don't agree. And for me, I have family members that support Trump. They voted for him once, and I wouldn't say it's out of the question if they do it again. And I can't understand, as a woman, as a parent, as a citizen, how. Though it's really never been a topic of conversation, and much as I wish it was and could be, it scares me that they won't see that I just want to see their point of view, even if they can't see mine, because I want to understand, because I can't. And I want to make them see, and I just don't want us to end up hating each other. But I know they'll get offended, and I'll get offended, and at this point, no one's really willing to work through being offended. And that's the very thing, isn't it? The conversation itself is becoming dangerous. The ability to use rational thought is the one thing that makes us distinctly human, and yet people are more tied to emotions now than ever, which isn't necessarily to say emotions are not important, because of course they are, but your capacity to be offended isn't something to respect. In fact, it's something to reflect on and watch out for. I spend a lot of time trying to learn about things and to understand them deeply from different perspectives and angles, and yet I still have trouble knowing what to say and how to say it. But I do know that we must never stop listening and never stop trying to open our minds to understand the perspectives of those who view things differently than we do. Because if we give that up, then we have nothing, because conversation and interaction is everything. Circus Harmony continues to be.
There's one of those little technological glitches. That was Isabella Majzun in our online show, The Balancing Act, Walking the Pandemic Tightrope. I understand when we show things through Zoom, onto Facebook, it gets a little glitchy and stop action. You can see her act smoothly, and the rest of the students and alumni and staff that were part of the Balancing Act, Walking the Pandemic Tightrope, simply by going on our YouTube page. After the interview, I'm going to show you an act that Isabella is working on now, but I also invite you on our YouTube page. Isabella was a student at Circus Harmony for many, many years, and she's in a lot of the acts on our YouTube page. She was the Snow Queen one year and did a gorgeous contortion juggling act. She and her partner at the time, Maya Zuckerman, did a kind of salute to sports juggling act in our Gracioso show. Anyway, just go to Circus Harmony's page, search for juggling, and you will see a lot of Isabella. So right now, if technology works, we'll bring her to you here live on Zoom. Live on Zoom is a thing. Yay! Welcome. Hello, it's so good to see you. Where are you right now?
I'm in Montreal, in my room in my apartment. So, yeah.
So welcome to the live stream. We've had all sorts of students, coaches, alumni. Two of them are with you in Montreal, and Yason, who's also there, is going to be on in a few weeks. I'm really glad you said yes.
Yeah, excited to be here.
How old were you when you started at Circus Harmony? Because there are some students that were just always there, and you were one of them.
Yeah, I think I was like 5 years old. Yeah, I had a friend at school who did it, and then she was moving schools, and so we decided to both do circus to stay in contact. And she eventually left, but I never did, I guess.
Wow. And so if you were there from when you were 5 until you graduated high school.
Yeah.
That's great. The next person of that generation is Finn, it looks like, because he started when he was 5 as well.
He was over.
So why do you think you stayed all those years? Because a lot of kids, they do one activity or another and then they move on to something else. And you and others stayed with circus. What kept you there personally?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like never really did any other physical activities, I guess. Like when I was very little, I played sports, and then I would play sports with my friends, but circus is just like so cool. I don't know, like it's like there's not a big competition aspect unless you actively seek it out, which is really nice. And it, as a kid, it gives you like an outlet to sort of show off without being labeled a show off, and everybody wants to see you show off. And then also as a really shy, quiet kid, it gave me like sort of a way to express myself that I couldn't really do like in conversations with people.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that because we do a lot of shows at Circus Harmony, even for the very young kids. And I never necessarily felt that that was your favorite part, doing the shows.
Sorry,
And now
what?
I never felt that doing the shows was your favorite part. And now you're at school, you're at École Nationale de Cirque, training to be a professional circus performer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely when I was there at first, when I was younger, I liked training and performing. I didn't like the costumes. I didn't like feeling girly and having to wear makeup. I wasn't a fan of that. But now I love performing and I really miss it. Like at school, I barely have opportunities to. We just like present. And then also, I guess with the pandemic, like there aren't really shows outside of school that any of us can do. So I really miss it. So I guess my mentality sort of shifted as I got older.
Because you did a number of acts.
Yeah.
List some of the different acts that you were a part of.
Well, juggling, definitely. I've done handstand acts and partner acrobatics, bunking. I've done aerial silks and trapeze and unicycle and globe. I think maybe wire, rollabola. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a single act that maybe you never did when you were there. I think you might have done all of them.
I never did cradle.
Okay. So. I was going to say you did mini trampoline.
Yeah, I did mini tramp.
Numerous aerial acts. You did it.
Contortion.
Yep, contortion for sure. So why was circus such a great way for you to be able to express yourself, do you think? Because you went to a school, you went to the Waldorf School of St. Louis, where we also taught circus for many years. And that's a pretty artistic, expressive school.
Yeah. Well, I think when I was growing up, I never really saw circus as like an art form necessarily. But as I've like gotten older and my brain has developed and like I can see that it is like it's performance art and it's also like active like a sport, which I think is really cool how it like interacts in that way. I don't know, and I would say it's just like really cool to be able to go on stage and just like, it's not even like I had something specific to express. I just got to like express how much I loved doing what I was doing, and I got to show all the cool things that I learned, and it's just kind of like an outlet for just like expressing whatever is inside, even if it's not like specifically something you don't feel like you can express usually.
I also always felt that you were a very gracious performer, that you were, when you worked with other people in terms of sharing the spotlight, that you really seemed to enjoy that and were happy to say, and now look at this person. And
yeah, I love performing with other people.
Yeah, I think that really shone, but you were an exquisite solo performer, and you had an act that went to the International Juggling Festival. And what about the places that you got to travel with us? Does anything stand out in your mind?
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah, so I went to the International Juggling Festival, which was in Canada one year, which was really cool. It was like one of my first times being in Canada, I guess. And then of course, Israel was like the biggest experience of my childhood, pretty much, which is just incredible to be able to go there and meet all those different people and experience the different ways of life.
People who don't know, we toured with the Galilee Circus, a Jewish Arab youth circus there. And when we went, it was a little dicey, actually, to be in Israel. Well, it's always dicey to be in Israel. It's dicey anywhere these days. but it was quite an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. And I was 13, and I don't know, it's still like definitely sticks with me as one of the coolest things I've done.
What
And
were some of your memories of putting a show together with people who didn't necessarily speak the same language?
yeah, I mean, you have to just like, I mean, it was really cool to be like, oh, we can still put a show together. We can still do acts. Like all we have to do sort of is like show them what we can do, like demonstrate, and then they do it if they can, or they demonstrate something else, and it just worked. Like I don't remember it being much of a struggle, even when I didn't speak the language.
It's
This-
always been one of the most amazing things to me that we were able to do that you, the young
Yeah.
circus people, were able to. I mean, I talk all the time about circus being an international language, but you really put it into practice. And when we went to Puerto Rico another time, it
Yeah.
was not a barrier at all. And what's really exquisite is circus takes a lot of trust and responsibility, and you were all very trusting and very responsible. And that the shows that were created were exquisite, and that they went, when especially in Israel, to go and show in these different places, because some places were not open to even Jews and Arabs working together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so crazy. And I don't think at the time I fully understood like the weight of what we were doing. Like,
Yeah, it was fun. It was circus. It was just fun.
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
but like,
also why it's such a great way to do this.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
So you were also very good at school academically. Um, did you apply to other colleges or just to École Nationale?
yeah, I applied to a lot of academic colleges. That was pretty much my plan. But I
So
was like,
what
oh,
happened?
I'll audition for ENC, and I mean, I won't get in because I'm not that good, and then I'll just go to academic colleges.
What was your first academic choice?
I think McGill. I wanted to be in Montreal,
Well, yeah,
uh, and I got into the earth science program and the engineering program. Um, so I was gonna do that. But yeah, then I got in, and so I just decided to go for it. I feel like I can always go back to academic college, and I'm sure I will at some point. But I should use my body while it works, and yeah.
but you were surprised to get in.
Yeah, I was. I was surrounded by a lot of people who were also auditioning. I was living in New England for that year, and they all had coaches like helping them make acts and supporting them. And everybody just kind of was like, "Oh yeah, she's just kind of there." And so I was just kind of there.
You were
I
just
was
kind of
like,
there and had this background.
yeah, I did, and I wasn't like juggling a lot before then. Like I was juggling, but I was doing pretty much as much like partner acro stuff as I was juggling, so I didn't know like what I wanted to specialize in or anything. I just decided to go for it, and turns out they like what I do, and so yeah, now I get to keep pursuing it, which is awesome.
And what's school like there in the middle of a pandemic?
It's surprising, like it's better than I would have expected. We have school for 3 hours a day, which is not enough.
Right?
Definitely.
So much less than non-pandemic, but my understanding is they're trying to keep you not necessarily in pods, but
Yeah, it's pretty much like you interact with the same people every single day. So like it's like I'm in deck 1, so it's all the deck 1 people have from 11 to 2 school, and then like deck 2, like Kyron and Oliver, come from like 2:30 to 5:30, I guess. And it's like that for all of the years.
also at ENC, it's a 3-year college with a 1-year prep program, and they think that all jugglers need that extra year.
I agree. Juggling is hard. And it just takes
So,
longer to get good at juggling than it does other things because it's so easy to mess up. But yeah, we have an hour and a half of specialty every day. So I actually have more juggling hours than I did last year, which is really nice. And then we
and you
have,
have some academic as well, right?
yeah, those are online at night. We don't have those in person. it's like 2 hours every night except for Friday for me.
And did you already speak French when you went? I forgot. Oh, I think you're frozen.
Well, I did take French in high school, and my mom speaks French. Oh no, can you hear me?
Yep, now it's good.
Okay. um,
So did you
yeah.
go back your senior year? You actually moved out of St. Louis. Your family was living in Rhode Island.
Yeah, we moved to Rhode Island for my dad's job.
So you knew some French when you went. Did you get to skip out of French class?
I did actually. There was like a very basic French class for everybody coming in, and they let us test out if we could pass the final exam, which I did, but I'm definitely have a long way to go with French. I'm definitely not the worst, but I'm also definitely not fluent. I understand most things, but I have a lot of trouble like speaking back still. But I'm trying.
So you consider yourself a juggler as a primary discipline?
But it's not that difficult to get along without French because kind of everybody speaks English.
Yes, even though it's an international school. And I think it's more so now than it used to be in terms of English.
Yeah, I agree.
So you are primarily a juggler, but clearly you have a lot of flexibility. Do you do specific contortion training at the school?
I don't, but I am hoping to when school goes back to normal. Like there are certain like advanced flex classes, like flexibility classes that are a bit harder where I would be pushed a bit more. But yeah, I mean, we have like normal flexibility classes that everybody has that I take. But right now I just mostly juggle, and then I also like bend while I'm juggling sometimes.
So do you get to do any partner acrobatics or not right now because of the pandemic?
Not right now. Usually there's a bunking class that I was hoping to be a part of, but it's not happening this year because nobody can touch each other. So
they have at your school done groundbreaking research though in terms of transmission of virus, and they've set a lot of the protocols that many circus schools are following around the world.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So what would you tell someone who's trying to decide whether or not they want to take circus classes or even pursue circus as a career?
I mean, taking classes, I would say definitely. It's just fun, and like it's a great way to stay active, and it's great people who do it. You'll make great friends.
I find that. I think kids who do circus are just always really wonderful young people.
Yeah. I mean, like you're not competing against anyone, which might help. I mean, definitely competition is fun, but it's also just like it's such a community, and it's like you're all just helping each other improve. And if you learn a trick, you just teach everybody else because you just want everybody else to be good, which is super cool.
And before I ask what you would say to someone who wants to do circus as a career, where do you see yourself? What sort of company would you like to perform with?
So I don't really know yet, and I feel like I have time to figure it out specifically. Like there are some companies that I'm like, wow, it would be really cool to work for them. But I'm also like, maybe it would be really interesting to work with like a really small company on like one really specific project, or like start a company with some of my friends, or I really don't know yet.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, but I'm really open to like whatever comes my way, I guess. And I definitely have time too, because I still have 2.5 years of school left.
I think that's what people don't realize, that there are so many options for circus performers and so many different companies all over the world, and that there are starting to be more and more American-based companies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting.
And for you personally, your family moved your senior year, then you went to college, then they ended up moving again.
Yeah.
So it's just what happened in your family. Where do you consider home?
So pretty much wherever my family is, I guess. For
I'm going to let you go in a moment because I know you have schoolwork and I have actually to practice with the arches. But the video I'm going to show was filmed in a home that you were living in with your family.
Yeah, during the quarantine period.
And tell people a little bit about the video.
So I was asked by my teachers to make an April presentation online because I'm a juggler, and so I had access to my equipment, even though it's very clear that the ceilings are very limited. I do like very low to the ground things. I can't really throw them up in the air very much. But yeah, so my family helped me move our dining room table into the center of the room, and I got a little corner and I put together a little presentation. Yeah.
So you know that whenever you're in St. Louis, you always come to visit us, but you're also always welcome. Maybe we can talk about you coming and teaching at some point when we go. We're slowly making our way back to training in person. Right now, the classes are limited to 3 people.
Oh, wow.
We hope to get to 6 or 8 by the summer.
Yes.
Yeah, so we should talk offline. Anything else you want to add about how you look at circus as an art form now or life in general?
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I thought the piece that you did for the balancing act was really interesting.
Thank you.
Because it is such a conundrum and there are so many people. There are certainly some circus people that I know who voted for Trump. And I think this is going to be a divisive topic for years to come. But the points you were making, I just wish everybody would listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's really important to be able to have conversations with people without getting overly defensive immediately, because then nothing's ever going to happen and everyone's just going to have their own opinions and not be willing to hear other people. And it's just, there's no way forward like that. So
The way yours was one of the pieces that didn't have music because your talking was the music and it went in rhythm with the juggling. So this talking conversation is almost a metaphor for juggling, I think.
yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but that's interesting.
Thank you so much for coming on. I look forward
Thank you
when
for
I
having me.
see you again in person. And everybody stay tuned. We're going to let Isabella know and look at her video. And this was from a year ago then.
Yeah, almost. Wow.
I know. So invite me to your next showing.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe you can even pass through St. Louis, and when we go back to doing shows, you'll perform with us again.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, thank you for having me.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So now let's go into her parents' dining room from last year. Oh my, see, now this is what I mean about having technical problems. Okay, getting there? Oh dear. Yay. And that was Isabella, Majzun, our special guest today. So before we do Maple's trick of the day, I just want to remind you that you can order your Defy Gravity coffee. There's a link in the video description. And I'm so sorry, Trapeze STL, our Flying Trapeze Center, is closed for the foreseeable future, but you never know. Find us a high ceiling space and get rid of this pesky pandemic, and we would love to fly again. Isabella didn't mention this, but she was also a beautiful flying trapeze artist, and I hope she gets to fly again at some point. Don't forget to look at City Museum's website because they're open. And a week from today, a week minus 4.5 hours, because it'll happen at noon, we are going to debut the Circus Harmony Interactive Cookbook. Over 40 recipes, each recipe from breakfast to dessert, from coffee to kale smoothies, from appetizers to entrees. Each act is paired with a circus video. It'll be online, interactive, free, and tell all your friends. We're posting about it every day, giving you little teasers and snippets. Miss Maple is in it as well. So let's do this awkward thing where we move the computer down to the ground and we see if Miss Maple is in the mood to perform. Maple, 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 here she comes. The marvelous Miss Maple. So Maple, can you get the tortilla blanket for me? Can you bring me that? Bring me that tortilla. Okay, you can bring me that. This is actually the Circus Harmony Defy Gravity coffee, which you can order. The link is in the description. And there's a recipe, special coffee recipe is in the cookbook, and Maple grinds coffee and makes the coffee. Did you get the coffee? Yes, get the coffee. No, as long as you're there, you might as well bring me the coffee. Bring me the coffee. Bring me the coffee. No, she's putting it. Oh my gosh, this dog is so smart. She went and got the coffee and she put it over here. I wish that was on camera. No, we're not doing the coffee act now. You want to show them how you would do it? Yep, you would put the filter in there and you would grind it. But right now, I asked you to bring me the coffee. Could you bring me the coffee? Bring me the coffee. Thank you so much. And now, could you get the tortilla? Nope, the tortilla. We're skipping ahead to the tortilla. Give me the tortilla. Thank you. So Maple doesn't do a tortilla act in the show, but there's an enchilada and a burrito recipe. But if Maple did do the tortilla act, that's what it would look like. Good girl. But this blanket, she did lend her blanket to the burrito and enchilada recipe. And now, Maple is going to jump through a fake fire. Give it up for Miss Maple. You can also see her in the cookbook, Shelter in Place. Miss Maple also has a recipe with her friend Georgie, the shrimp. So you want to see that recipe too. All the recipes, they are amazing. And the acts that go with them are amusing and amazing. It's delicious, it's delightful. The link is in the description. Thank you again to Isabella for coming. Everybody, don't forget to order your coffee so that you'll know how to, so that you'll have this coffee to do the special recipe with when Circus Harmony Interactive Cookbook goes live at noon. Tomorrow, I'll be on a show called Spilling the Tea, live on Instagram at Caravan NYC. We'll put the links up and you can join me there. Don't forget to visit our YouTube page. You can see the balancing act, a lot of other acts with Isabella and all our flying children. And on Tuesday, 40 new acts, all paired with these recipes. I've never seen anything like it, and neither have you. So meanwhile, thanks again for watching. Thanks for letting me make your day a circus day. And I'll see you next week.